and as Kevin had mentioned, all with under a hefty time constraint. So we knew we were going to have to revise our approach a little bit. But if there's one thing our department does and does very well, it's rise to a challenge. So we knew we were going to have to revise our character rigs. So the goal with our character rigs, we wanted them to be as close to real-time animation performance as possible, while still remaining intuitive and easy to use. And being that Overwatch was so performance heavy, we spent a lot of time getting our face rig perfected. So all of our characters' heads, they're all modeled from one base mesh. The modeling team takes that base mesh, turns it into every one of our characters in Overwatch. So what this got us, this saved us a ton of time on the rigging side. It got the rigs into production very fast. So here's our final face rig. Had all the features we were looking for. We could more or less do anything we wanted with it. But as you can see, it can start to go wrong pretty fast, and you could get off model real quick. And by off model, I just mean you're not gonna look at this character and be like, oh, yep, that's definitely Tracer. So here was an on-model test, just Tracer running through some emotions, just seeing, making sure she stays looking like Tracer. But there was also some really cool things we could do with our new rig. We could almost make, totally new characters out of just the poses we're creating. And since our rig is completely unified across all of our characters, we can take this animation and we can put it on any one of our characters and it transfers. So with the episodes, we filmed a ton of video reference. The great thing about video reference is it helps you get a starting point for your shots, so you don't just jump in and start animating. And another great thing is that our directors, one of our directors here is Jeremiah Johnson in the middle. He was playing our main thug. He would jump in, act with us, and he really gets into character. And you see, this is Sean Janik. He might actually be out here in the crowd somewhere. But he's on the left here. You see when Jeremiah yells? Sean actually jumped. That wasn't scripted. That was a real reaction. And it's moments like these when you see it in the final animation that, Sean didn't, copy the reference, but he took the essence and it made the shot all that much better for it. And going into Sombra, we knew she was going to be a very heavy challenge for us on the performance side. I mean, she needed to be confident and sly, yet cocky, and still playful. And this is Marika Valerie. She's one of our animators, and she totally nailed that playful, sly attitude. And you can see how it comes through in all the final shots. So also on our character rigs, we added what we call Bendy Bones. So these Bendy Bones gave us the ability to get super quick dynamic posing. And it also allowed us an animation technique, a technique that you see a lot actually in the game itself. You see it in the play of the games mostly, is a technique known as smear frames. So smear frames, they show up in just one frame. It's like a blur of motion, but they really help to sell snappy, fast moving animation. And as you can see, this is very slowed down, but it doesn't exactly look like something that's physically possible. But when you see it in the final animation, the physicality works, and we get that snap to the animation we were after. So we also add the Bendy Bones to all of our props. We consider the props just an extension to all of our characters, so anything we can do to accentuate a pose or a line of action, we'll always do it. And going into the episodes, we knew these crowds in Alive were going to be a very huge challenge for us. And it's not that we've not done crowds in past cinematics. We've done a lot of crowds before. But being that we had a brand new pipeline, we just weren't exactly sure how we were going to tackle it. So we came up with a new workflow using one of our tools known as the animation library. So our animation library, we could take any pose, any animation, put it in the library. Everybody on the team has instant access to it. And you can select any of these poses, any of these animations, put them on any character and any shot, and then they'll transfer right on. So these were all the animations we created for the crowds. And once we had them in our library, we could propagate them all the way down to all the other characters in the crowd. And with a huge collaboration with our layout department, we were able to get the shots built, and the crowds turned out great. So this was just a test animation we did on Dr. Winston early on, but this just shows we can take that animation from our library, transfer it to any character, doesn't matter their shape or size, and the animation will transfer, and it works pretty awesome. So everything in Blizzard animation is a huge collaboration between departments. And we knew going into these shots on dragons that this was going to be a really big collaboration between animation and effects. So we tried to get a very rough first pass animation out. We had some temp timing, we had some temp effects, just enough to give our effects artists a bit of a springboard so they can start iterating as soon as possible. And once we get sign off from the director, we'll package this all up and send it down the pipeline to Bill in the effects team. And I'll hand you guys off to Bill.